All right, welcome back, mathematicians. Today we're going to look at writing a real world scenario when given an equation. So on Friday, we looked at inequalities where we were given an inequality and used that inequality to match it to a corresponding real world scenario. This time we're doing something very similar, but instead of an inequality, we're looking at an equation. So here is our equation. So if I look at this equation, it reads 150 plus 20 times x is equal to 75 plus 25 times x. And so what we're going to do is we're going to write a real world scenario or real world situation that matches what this equation says. So to do that, I'm going to actually back out of here for a second. And I'm going to come to this view here. So anytime we have an equation or an inequality, we need to remember that all we're really doing is we're comparing two things. It's a relationship between two things. And so in an equation, it's important to remember that I have that equal sign. That means that whatever is on the left is the same as whatever is on the right side of that equal sign. So this 150 plus 20 times x is the same or is equal to 75 plus 25 times x. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to pick two things that we're going to compare. And because we're going to write this from scratch, we can choose anything. So I'm going to compare a couple friends of mine. I'm going to compare Bryce to Kendrick. Okay, I'm going to compare two people. All right, I'm going to compare my friend Bryce to my friend Kendrick. So here's all Bryce's information on the left. Here's all Kendrick's information on the right. Okay, we're going to need to remember that when we write our equation. And so the next thing I want to do is really understand that where I see my variable attached to my coefficient, that means I'm multiplying, right? I'm multiplying my variable, or that x times 20 on Bryce's side or on the left side, and I'm multiplying my variable, or that x times 25 on the right side or on Kendrick's side, right? So some key words that you're going to see are per, P-E-R, make that better, there we go, or each. Okay, those are keywords that tell us that we're multiplying. So again, if I see that word per, whoops, that's not a P. That's a little better P. Per or each. All right. So now we get to fill this in or write this equation really any way we want. Okay. So let's say we've got Bryce and Kendrick. Let's say they're both saving up for the PlayStation 5. All right, so Bryce and Kendrick, they're both saving up money. They want to get the new PS5 when it comes out in a couple months. All right, so Bryce, here's all his information on the left. All right, let's say Bryce, he already has $150 saved, right? Here's that 150. So let's say he's starting with $150 in the bank, and he's saving $20 per week. All right, again, here's that word per. Here's that word per. So I'm taking my coefficient, or that 20, and I'm multiplying it by the number of weeks, or that x. Okay, remember, your variable is an unknown value. I don't know what that x represents. I don't know the number of weeks. Okay, so that's why we're using that variable to represent that. Okay, so that side is done. I'm all done with Bryce's information. So he's starting with 150 and he's saving $20 per week. Now let's do the same thing with Kendrick's side of the equation. So Kendrick has $75 saved, and is saving, how much money is Kendrick saving? He's saving $25 per week. Again, I'm taking that 25, multiplying it, because that's what the word per means, multiplying it by the number of weeks, and then adding it to the $75 that he already has saved up. And so we want to know, after how many weeks will Bryce and Kendrick both have the same amount of money saved up? Okay, remember, whenever we're looking at a word problem, your last question will always state what your variable represents. After how many weeks? We don't know the number of weeks. That's our variable. That's our X. So after how many weeks will Bryce and Kendrick both have the same, because it's an equation, Bryce has to be equal to Kendrick or the same. So after how many weeks will Bryce and Kendrick both have the same amount of money saved